Hello students, as we have discussed the three states of matter, solid, liquid and gases. So in this video we are going to discuss a question that can matter change its state? So that is we are going to discuss here by discussing the effect of change of temperature. So we know that the water can exist in three states of matter, that is in the solid state, in the liquid state and as well as in the gaseous state. The solid form of water is called as the ice. The liquid form of water is as mentioned as water, and the gaseous form of water is the water vapor. We are familiar with these three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. And we are familiar with this observation that water can exist in the three states of matter, that is solid as ice, liquid as familiar as water and the gas as water vapor. Now let us discuss what is the effect of temperature and how one state can change into other. So the effect of change of temperature can be explained through performing an activity, that is activity 1.12. Now let us read out the activity. Activity 1.12. Take about 150 gram of ice in a beaker and suspend a laboratory thermometer so that its bulb is in contact with the ice. So we need ice for this activity and start heating the beaker on a low flame. That means we need burner for heating the beaker. Note the temperature when the ice starts melting. Note the temperature when all the ice has converted into the water. Record your observation for this conversion of solid to liquid state. So we need certain requirements, and even for further procedure a glass rod is required, that is for stirring. When it is further heated, keep a careful eye on the thermometer reading till most of the water has vaporized. Record your observation for the conversion of water in the liquid state to the gaseous state. So let us list out whatever the requirements are there for this activity. These are: beaker is required, ice, that is 150 gram of ice, thermometer, burner and glass rod. Now we'll be keeping all the required things in this way according to this diagram. That is the burner is to be lightened and the ice is taken in the beaker and thermometer is clamped here in order to measure the temperature, and the glass rod which is used for the stirring. Now first we will be measure the temperature of the ice and will be note it down. On the increasing the temperature, what we can see that the solid ice that is converted into liquid state. That means there is a change in the state. That means the ice will start to melt. That is all of us is familiar with this concept. That is what is happening at the particle level of the matter during this change of the state, that we need to discuss here. So we know that the particles of solid are tightly packed. That is the particles are very closely packed. So when we apply the heat, so what happens, the particles will be little bit start to move apart. So there will be now a certain space will be there between the particles. In compared to the solid, it will be having greater space. So why it happens so? As because when the heat is applied, that is on increasing the temperature of the solid, the particles gains energy. That is they gains energy, that is a kinetic energy, and because of this energy the particles will start to vibrate, and that is with a greater speed. The particles gains energy, they start to vibrate with a greater speed. So here we already learned that the particles have certain force of attraction between these. So the what the energy is supplied, that energy, it overcomes the force of attraction between the particles. That is, the energy supplied by the heat overcomes the force of attraction between the particles. So as the particles are tightly packed, so the energy which is applied, it makes the particles to move far. So that is why the particles leave their fixed position and start moving more freely. That is what now the particle has reached to a stage where the particles now we can call it as in the liquid state. So we can write that on increasing the temperature of solids, kinetic energy of particle increases. Thus, the particle starts moving more freely. Thus, the solid melts and converted into a liquids. So there will be certain minimum temperature required in order to convert the solid into the liquid, right? So what is that called as? The minimum temperature at which a solid melts to become a liquid at the atmospheric pressure is called its melting point. So that temperature, that is the minimum temperature in which the solid is converted into the liquid, that temperature is called as the melting point of that substance. So here it is shown in this way in the ray diagram, that is the solid state is converted into liquid state by the heating, and when we cool it, the liquid state converted into the solid state. That means by when we freeze the water, it will turns into the solid state. So that is very familiar conversation as already known to you. So here the very most important definition is the definition of melting point. What is melting point? It is a important definition, all of you learn properly. The melting point of a solid is actually an indication of the strength of the force of attraction between its particle, because for every substances certain specific melting point will be there. That is actually it is the indication of the strength of the force of attraction between its particle. And we are familiar with the melting point of the water. So here when a solid melts, its temperature remains the same. So where does the heat energy goes? That is what we can observe during this activity. When we measure the temperature of ice, it is 0 degrees Celsius. But when it melt, so then it means that it is changed into the liquid state. At the time when we measure the temperature, that will still remain as 0 degrees Celsius. That means when the solid is melted, its temperature remains the same, that is the 0 degrees Celsius. So the question arises, where does the heat energy go? Because we are heating up and thus the solid is converted into the liquid. So the question arises, so as the temperature is remain the same, there is no change in the temperature when the solid is just get melted. So the question arises, where the heat energy go? That is actually, we know that the heat gets used up in the changing of the state by overcoming the force of attraction between the particles, because we have already discussed certain force of attraction are there between the particles. So if these two are the particles and there is a force of attraction between them, so what the energy we have supplied here, that energy is used to overcome this force of attraction, and thus it makes the particles to move little bit free. So from this what we can say, that where the heat energy go as the temperature remains same when the solid melt. So what is the answer for this question? That is, the heat get used up in changing the state by overcoming the force of attraction between the particles. So we can say that the answer for this question is this one. Now here we can say that the amount of heat energy that is required to change 1 kg of a solid into the liquid at the atmospheric pressure at its melting point is known as the latent heat of fusion. This is what an important definition, that is the definition for latent heat of fusion. It is also an important definition. The question will be asked, what is latent heat of fusion? That is the amount of heat energy that is required to change 1 kg of solid into the liquid at the atmospheric pressure at its melting point is known as latent heat of fusion. Melting point can be defined in very simple way, in this way that melting point is the temperature at which something becomes liquid. That means when the solid melts, that temperature is the melting point. And we are familiar with the melting point of ice, that is 0 degrees Celsius. Water has a melting point of 0 degrees Celsius. This means that at 0 degrees Celsius, the water changes from solid to a liquid. So that is what we can see in this picture. In this picture, we can see that the solid water is converted into the liquid state. That is the melting of solid. And the temperature is called as melting point. And the melting point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. That is in degrees Celsius. But in Kelvin, it is 273 Kelvin. Now, how to convert degrees Celsius into Kelvin? Because both are the units for the temperature. So, how we can convert the 0 degrees Celsius into the Kelvin? That is actually 0 plus 273, that is equal to 273 Kelvin. So this is a method to convert degrees Celsius into Kelvin. As we know that the particles in the solid are tightly packed and it is little bit looser in the case of liquid. That means when we make the particles in this way, we can say that on melting the particles, they gains kinetic energy and they start vibrating. That is with a greater speed, and thus the energy supplied here is made the particles to move little bit far. So that is why you can see that now the particles in this liquid state are little bit far from each other, but in the solid they are very closely packed. So here the particles in the water at 0 degrees Celsius, when we compare the energy, they have more energy as compared to the particles in the ice at the same temperature. Even though the particles, we can say that the temperature at 0 degrees Celsius, the particles in the liquid state and the particles in the solid state, as the temperature is same here, that is temperature is 0 degrees Celsius is same. That is at this temperature, the solid ice and the liquid water both having same temperature, but when we look at the particles, the arrangement of particle is different and we can see that their energy is also different. So the particles in the water, that is here the particles in the water at 0 degrees Celsius have more energy as compared to the particles in the ice at the same temperature. That is the temperature 0 degrees Celsius. Which particles have greater energy? That is the particles in water at 0 degrees Celsius have more energy in compared to the particles in the ice at the same temperature. So that is very important question, that at 0 degrees Celsius, ice and water, which one have greater energy? The particles of definitely water at 0 degrees Celsius have greater energy. What happens when the liquid water, which is further heated? So again we can do the heating process here. So we'll be measuring the temperature with the help of thermometer. So when we heat the water, we can see that the temperature rises here. That is the 0 degrees Celsius temperature rises to 10, 20, 30 and so on. So we can see that with a regular supply of the heat to the water, the temperature increases. So when we apply the heat energy to the water, what actually taking place, the particles start moving even faster because the particles gains energy. So when we apply the heat, the particles gains energy. So when the particles gain energy, they start to move. That is, more fasterly it will start to move because now the particles have gained more and more energy. So at a certain temperature, a point is reached where the particles have enough energy to break free from the force of attraction of each other, as the particles have force of attraction. So a stage is reached where the particles have energy, that is enough energy to break the energy from the force of attraction at this temperature. What we can say that the liquid state is changes into the gaseous state. So what we can say that the particles will gain more and more energy by heating. So we can say that the particles will break up the force of attraction and they will start to move much farther. So that means they will be turned into the gaseous state. So on increasing the temperature of the liquid, particles gain energy and start moving even faster. Thus the liquid start boiling and it converted into the gaseous state. So here the temperature is a particular temperature at which the liquid state changes to the gaseous state. So that is what we can define as the temperature at which a liquid start boiling at the atmospheric pressure is known as boiling point. So that temperature at which a liquid start to boil, that means at the atmospheric pressure, is known as the boiling point. So here we can say that the liquid state on heating, it is changed into the gaseous state, and we know that the gases even when it is get cooled in the gaseous state, that will turns into the liquid state. We know that the water vapor, it get condenses and it come back to the liquid state. So here we can define the latent heat of vaporization in this way: the amount of heat energy that is required to change 1 kg of liquid into the gaseous state at atmospheric pressure at its boiling point is known as the latent heat of vaporization. This definition is nearly same as the definition of the latent heat of fusion, which we have learned here. Here also we have taken 1 kg, but it is 1 kg of solid into liquid at melting point, and here the definition is, because it is about the vaporization, so the definition is relate to the same 1 kg of, but it is liquid to gases, and that is at boiling point. So a very small differences. It is easy to learn the two definition. So once you have learned the one definition, it is easy to learn the other definition. The only thing is that you have to make the changes here. Liquid to gas you have to do there here and at boiling point. But in the case of latent heat of fusion, it is solid to liquid at its melting point. So it is an important definition, that is latent heat of vaporization. We can define the boiling point in the simple way like this. Boiling point is the temperature at which something becomes a gas. And we are familiar with the boiling point of water, that is 100 degrees Celsius. Water has a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius. This means that at 100 degrees Celsius, the water changes from liquid to the gaseous state. So 100 degrees Celsius is the boiling point of water. We can convert this into Kelvin. The degree Celsius can be converted into the Kelvin. How we can do this one? 100 is the numerical value in degrees Celsius plus 273. So we can add this one. So we get the value here 373 Kelvin. So what is the 100 degrees Celsius temperature? In terms of Kelvin, it is 373 Kelvin. When we make the particles of the liquid state and the gaseous state, it is very clear from the diagram that is the particles in the gaseous state are little bit far free from each other in compared to the liquid. So at the temperature 100 degrees Celsius, when we compare the energy of liquid and its gaseous state, it is seen that because the particles of gases have greater energy, that is why they are little bit more free to each particle. So what we can write here, the particles in the steam, that is the water vapor, at 373 Kelvin have more energy than the water at the same temperature. So when we compare the water in the liquid state and the water in the gaseous state at the same temperature 100 degrees Celsius, the particles of gases have greater, that is the particles of water vapor have greater energy. Thus, we can make a conclusion that on increasing the temperature, the solid state is converted into the liquid state, and further increasing the temperature, liquid state is converted into the gaseous state. That is very simple example we have taken here. Ice is converted into water on heating, and on further heating the water is converted into water vapor. So at the particle level we can make a diagram in this way, that is in the solid state the particles are tightly packed. On increasing the temperature, it start to melt and it converted into liquid state. Now the particles are little bit free because having greater energy. Further, when it is heated, now what we can say that liquid state is converted into the gaseous state, and when we compare the energy, the particles have greater energy. That is what the particles are more free in the case of gases. So this is what we can say that the matter can change its state, because we have started this video with a question: can matter change its state? So what is our answer here? Yes, the matter can change its state, that is from solid to liquid and liquid to gas. So it is very important concept and many important definitions we have learned in this video. So all of you learn all these definitions properly. This is all about this video. Have a nice day.